So in this video, we'll see what is light reflex, what are the types of light reflex, and what is the pathway for light reflex. Okay, now, so what is exactly is light reflex? Okay, now it is the change in the size of the pupil depending upon the amount of light entering into your eye. So here, if you see, for example, if a bright light is shown into your eye, what happens is the brightness is too much. Okay, so you cannot see clearly. So what exactly normally happens is physiologically the pupil goes for constriction so that the amount of light entering into your eye will reduce so that you can see the objects clearly. The depth of the object also can be seen clearly. That is why it is a physiological mechanism where when a light falls into your eye, the pupil goes for constriction. So this is your light reflex. Okay, there are two types of light reflex. One is direct light reflex, another one is indirect light reflex. So when I tell direct light reflex, we'll take an example. Okay, you are throwing light or you're putting torch light into the patient's right eye. The right pupil goes for constriction. So directly the same pupil, whichever you put the light, okay, that goes for constriction. We call it as direct light reflex. When I tell indirect light reflex, it's also called as consensual light reflex. It means if you put a torchlight to the right eye, the left pupil is also going for constriction, and that is called an indirect light reflex. So as I mentioned, there are two types of light reflex, direct and indirect light reflex. Direct light reflex meaning you're putting torchlight to the right eye, the right pupil goes for constriction. When you put a torchlight to the right eye, the other eye, nothing but your left eye goes for, left pupil goes for constriction, which we call it as indirect light reflex. Now we'll see the pathway of light reflex. For this, you can check out the video on visual pathway and then get back to this video, okay, because visual, you should be very clear with the visual pathway, then only you will understand the light reflex pathway. So just to little bit to just to summarize or revise it, what happens is here, what you're seeing here now, the candle, this candle is present on the left visual field. So this is the left visual field and this is the right visual field. Okay, so this is the visual field. So the patient is seeing the objects in the environment. So now this is patient's left eye, this is right eye. As you always know, light travels in a straight line. So now, for example, if this candle, okay, this puts an image onto the eye, okay, on the retina, what happens is the light will fall like this. So even though the image is on the left side of the field, it will fall onto the nasal retina. Okay, now this candle will project onto this is the retina. Okay, blue and red color whatever I've shown here is a retina. So this is the temporal retina, this is the nasal retina. So this is representation purpose, I've drawn the nose here. So this is the nasal retina, temporal retina. So now always remember, light falls from the other side onto this nasal retina. Now what has happened? From the the light impulses get converted into electrical impulses, then travels along the optic nerve. So from the retina via the optic nerve, and this is the optic chiasma where the nasal retinal fibers cross from both the eyes, and the temporal fibers go on the same side, they go on the ipsilateral side. So now we have retina, then we have optic nerve, optic chiasma, this is the optic tract. Okay, this is the optic tract, this is your lateral geniculate body, which is a part of thalamus, and this is optic radiation goes to occipital cortex. So this is your visual pathway, which you can refer the other video section. But now what we are seeing is a pathway for light reflex. So now remember, the impulses, visual impulses, even before it reaches the lateral geniculate body, it goes to midbrain, nucleus in the midbrain called as pretectal nucleus. So it's a bilateral structure. This is the right one, this is the left pretectal nucleus. Now we'll take so impulses, whichever impulses coming from the right eye has gone to the right uh, pretectal nucleus. From right pretectal nucleus, there is a bilateral presentation. Now, so the impulses, visual impulses, go to Edinger-Westphal nucleus. Edinger-Westphal nucleus is a nucleus for third cranial nerve, your oculomotor nerve. So, oculomotor nerve goes and ends in a ciliary ganglion. So, this becomes a preganglionic fiber. Your third oculomotor nerve, no, it will work like a preganglionic neuron, and this is a ganglion, which is a ciliary ganglion. From the ciliary ganglion, a postganglionic neuron arises, and that is nothing but called as short ciliary nerve. It goes and supplies the sphincter pupillae. It's a muscle within the eye. It's an intraocular muscle which causes constriction of pupil. Now I'll tell you now the pathway for a direct light reflex. Okay, this light, okay, this candle or this torch light, okay, for example, you put a torch light into your right eye via the right optic nerve, the right optic chiasma, this optic chiasma, the right optic tract, it goes to the right pretectal nucleus. So the impulses, so from the right pretectal nucleus, it goes to right side Edinger-Westphal nucleus via third oculomotor nerve. The right third oculomotor nerve ends in ciliary ganglion. Short ciliary nerve goes and causes constriction of the pupil. So this is the pathway for direct light reflex, meaning you are putting torchlight into the right eye and the right pupil is going for constriction. The pathway for indirect light reflex, I'll tell you now. You put a light into the right eye. So the right optic nerve, right optic tract, right pretectal nucleus. From here, remember, the impulses are going bilaterally. So the visual impulse also reaches the left edingavascular nucleus via the left oculomotor nerve. The third cranial nerve reaches the left ciliary ganglion via short ciliary nerve here. Via the short ciliary nerve, it goes and supplies the left side sphincter pupillae, and the left eye also goes for constriction. So just to summarize now, when you put a torchlight into right eye, if the right pupil goes for constriction, you call it as direct light reflex. When you're putting torchlight into the right eye, the left pupil goes for constriction. This is called as indirect light reflex. So pathway for direct light reflex is from the torchlight that falls onto the right eye, optic nerve, optic tract, pretectal nucleus from the right side edingavascular nucleus, third via the oculomotor nerve, right side ciliary ganglion, short ciliary nerve supplies the sphincter pupillae and the pupil goes for constriction. Pathway for indirect light reflex is the light falls onto the right eye, the optic nerve, optic tract, edingavascular nucleus of the right side also stimulates the left edingavascular nucleus via left oculomotor nerve, left ciliary ganglion, left side short ciliary nerve supplies the sphincter pupillae. So this will apply on the left side also. If you put a torchlight to the left eye, the left pupil goes for constriction, you call direct light reflex. Putting torchlight to the left eye, if the right pupil goes for constriction, this is called as indirect light reflex. Now why this happens is because from the pretectal nucleus there is a bilateral supply to the visual impulses reach bilateral edingavascular nucleus. That is why putting torchlight to one eye also causes constriction on the other side as well as the same eye. So both the pupil will go for constriction. So this is called as your light reflex. Okay, thank you.